Hello, Gemini, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the week of June 28th through July 4th. And during that time, we have a full moon that comes in on the 30th, so you might feel that energy a day or two before. But of course, as a time of heightened emotions, and we might feel overwhelmed and anxious or a little irritable, you also might have changes in your sleeping patterns. So it is a good time for us to release any resentment and fear, and also to practice patience and calm through that time. You also might just be highly energetic. That's what I experienced during the full moon. So it's very positive for me. I just have a lot of energy. So then after that, of course, we have the waning gibbous, and that is a calmer time, a good time for self-reflection and rebirth. Also a good time to make positive changes and get rid of our bad habits and our negative thinking. So please keep those moon energies in mind as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter, Gemini. So as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't here on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is a win-win outcome is forecast. All right, let's see what the Gemini Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling the tarot, my fun weekly reminder for you, Gemini, is that you pay extra attention really, to the synchronicities that are going on around us all the time. So, here's the ways I experience this. For example, let's say that I see an animal that it's not one I see every day, and I do see a lot of animals. I'm in my backyard a lot, and of course I've got a lot of little critters running around back there, and occasionally something will show up, and it's like, well, I don't see those every day, like ducks. So the other day, I had ducks just fly right into the yard, and I don't see ducks all the time. We do see geese, and we have a lot of birds and things out there, but not ducks. And this male and female mallard ducks flew in, and I had to go look up, like, what are the attributes of a duck and what's going on in my life that I can apply those attributes to. So that's kind of how I use that. So if you see an animal that's not one that you see every day, that can be very synchronistic. It could be also that you're seeing a repeating number pattern, or something just happens that's like it's just beyond coincidence. So try to pay attention to those things. And especially, if you have anything going on in your life right now where you're kind of seeking information, kind of let yourself be open to seeing what answers are literally right in front of us. So that is my fun weekly reminder, and I will stop babbling about it right now. Gemini. Let's get into this reading. June 28th through July 4th. A win-win outcome is forecast. Your present energy is the Queen of Swords. So maybe some sort of, exchange of words. This could be where you're having to tell someone something or explain something. The Queen of Swords, she's very logical, and she is very concise about communication. You can see with her hand out there, she has no trouble saying what's on her mind. So, maybe that's something that you need to do, is just to be concise, say what's on your mind, but do it. And, the Queen is more of a female, kind of an understanding energy. And not only she says what's on her mind, but she's also, there's a little bit of empathy in there as well. Where the King of Swords might just all logic, and here's what it is, and that's it. And the Queen is more like, she'll have a conversation, right? It's more of a back and forth. So, but you're noticing this in yourself, your ability to speak up, but you're also, because you're the Queen, you're noticing this ability in others as well. And you're kind of, kind of cheering these people on. When you see someone else around that is kind of taking on that, also can speak up and say what's on their mind, you kind of like, yeah, you're kind of cheerleading for them. So what is your current situation is the 10 of Cups. So you're in a place where you're very, very happy family, happy life. That's your present situation. That's the best situation to be in. It's one of the happiest cards in the deck. So I love that. At the root of your situation is the King of Swords. So there is our king to our queen. Very logical. This is almost like the Mr. Spock of the deck. So whatever's going, you're being very logical about something, and it's looks like it's paying off, and it's making you happy. You've got this logic, but you also have this empathy that the queen brings on. And whatever situation is coming up, again, it's a win-win for everybody. It's like you are putting forth your own attributes of logic and reason. But again, also taking on kind of that softer ability to have a little empathy as well. What is in your recent past is the Queen of Wands. Look at all the royalty. So anytime I see this much royalty coming out, I start thinking too that it's involving family. So just a lot of positive family energy. This card as well. Queen of Wands is very she's very understanding of passion and things that excite us and put, kind of light a fire under us. So, but also has the empathy about it as well. Is very understanding about it. So this could be, you're coming out of your past into this more logical side of yourself, and maybe taking something that you have a passion for and putting it to work in a more logical manner. What is on your mind this week? Is, oh, well, there's the moon card, and that's about our synchronistic things and our intuition. This could be about a dream that you have, but there's something on your mind that feels intuitive, that feels synchronistic. It just feels like it's working out, and I think in a positive way, but it's on your mind. You're questioning it. You're like, wow. So maybe you did pay attention to what I said at the beginning of the reading, and you are watching for those synchronicities, paying attention to your dreams, paying attention to, number patterns that are coming up or things that you overhear. That's those little signs from the universe that are telling us, hey, you're on the right path, or whoa, you're not on the right path. I always think of that. I just recently watched again, it's the Jim Carrey movie. And oh, it's Bruce Almighty, and he's asking God for a sign. He's like, God, give me a sign. And he's in his car, and there's literal signs all around him as of course, he's not reading them, he's missing them. But that's the way I feel like those synchronicities, those signs are all around us. But if you're not paying attention, you're driving too fast, sometimes you have to just slow down and kind of look around, right? Just make sure you're doing that. And it looks like it is on your mind, at least, to be doing that. What is just ahead of you this week is a tower. So there is some sort of disruption that comes up. And maybe that's why maybe you kind of intuitively know about it and you're going to manage it logically. That's why maybe you've got both of these cards of logic. And it could be that it's just a slight disruption. We all have them. And what are disruptions? Usually it's like an obstacle or a rude awakening. It's something it's just usually some sort of abrupt change for some reason. I mean, it could be as simple as some car trouble. It could be just a traffic delay that you experience, or just some sort of delay. So think about that, and just know that that may be coming up this week, and just kind of be a little bit on guard. I mean, I wouldn't be too freaked out about it. And sometimes those disruptions are the ways that we learn about ourselves. So make sure, sometimes in the moment, that's a lot to ask if you're frustrated about something because it didn't go as planned, but sometimes after the fact, taking a step back and looking like, oh, how could I have handled that better? Because then the next time you're faced with the same thing, you just handle it better. You just kind of learn through it. So just see that as a learning experience. What is in your advice position here? King of Pentacles, more royalty. I mean, let's just put all the royalty on the table. So this could be some disruption that happens here within, maybe within your family, because there's so many royalty cards here on the table. We'll see. But King of Pentacles is just kind of keep it together. Be in charge of your material world, your financial world, and just sit in that energy. Where you've got logic on your side now. You've got the empathy of the queens coming in with the passion and the logic, but also this king energy, much like the King of Swords deals with things very logically. The King of Pentacles just knows how to handle everything materially. So that is not bad advice. What's beyond your control this week is some creative collaboration here with the Three of Pentacles. So there might be in some way that you're going to creatively solve some kind of problem that comes up, which is always a good thing. Just know that anything is solvable. And it's kind of beyond your control that you are going to have to consult with others to kind of come up with a creative solution about something. What is your secret desire? Or what are you trying to avoid? Is the Hermit card. So are you trying to avoid hermiting? To go in and really do some sort of inner searching, or is it your secret desire to do that? You may be like, hey, this disruption has happened and I just want a little time alone. I just want to go within and think about this a little more. Or you're trying to avoid that altogether and trying to spend time with people around you. So there's no right or wrong answer there. Just know the reason for your own answer, whatever that might be. In your outcome position here is the Empress card. So the outcome is that you end up in your most creative way possible. The Empress is, she is the mother of actual creation, the creation of life, which, if that's not an outcome you're shooting for, you may want to be careful with that this week. But the Empress is about making long term decisions that are creative, but that have a long term like, of course, the parenthood, that's a long term decision, right? So the Empress is about making things long term and decisions that go on for, not just a few weeks, but for years to come. So that's in your outcome, is to maybe come up with some sort of solution or decision that you make that is something that is long term, creative, and positive, typically. All right, what's hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck is the Chariot card. The Chariot card's about gathering information to make a move, which I don't feel like you're doing. I feel like, yeah, you're just kind of in the moment. There's things going on. Again, you might be surrounded by family and there's conversations and things going on. You might have a little bit of a disruption over something, but again, don't sweat it. Stay in the mindset of that moon card, of that, looking at the synchronicities and letting the universe guide you a little bit. So do that. A win-win outcome is forecast, looks like, for you and for the people around you. So that can't be a bad thing, whatever it might be for you. All right, let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Gemini here for this week. Make no judgments. So whatever it is that you encounter, and I'm going to go back to that Tower card, there may be a disruption, and sometimes those are just put in our place so that we can learn a lesson. Make no judgments about it. Just make sure that you deal with it and then step back and say, okay, what did I learn? That's really all you can do with this. We all get those kind of disruptions. We just want to, I always tell my kids that as time goes on, each decade, those disruptions, a thing that might have just ruined your entire world in your 20s, by the time you're 50, you're like, it happens, So that's wisdom, and it's also just experience to know that it's not the end of the world. That some things do tend to be when you're younger. You handle it better for whatever reason. Again, it's a wisdom, experience, and many times it's finances as well. Just as you're older, you can just deal with things easier. All right, let's get you a self-care wisdom card. What does Gemini need to do in the way of self-care this week? And the card for you says move. A long walk is good for the soul. Get outside and allow Mother Nature to lift your spirits. Okay, so that might be how you understand this moon card, right? Just getting out and taking a walk. Sometimes answers come to us in the woods. Sometimes if you have that kind of disruption and you do want to get away and hermit, a great time to do it, or a great way to do it, is to get out and take a walk. So just remember, and it's just good to get out and, what do they say, touch grass anyway, right? Get out, ground yourself a little bit. It just feels good. So make sure you try to get a little bit of that in this week. So Gemini, thank you so much for being here. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use in a positive way in your own life this week. Of course, if you are comfortable sharing, drop me a comment down below and let me know if anything here resonated, or if you had any questions. I'd be happy to answer those for you as well. And if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe is really helpful. It helps my channel so much. So thank you in advance for doing that. And thank you if you've already done that. But good luck with all of this, Gemini, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.